Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, skeptics, and connoisseurs of uncomfortable truths. Today, I want to discuss an increasingly popular theory about violence against women, specifically the idea that society harbors a global, cross-cultural contempt for female victims, that we blame them reflexively, consistently, and universally. That the human species, stretched across thousands of years and oceans and languages, can be reduced to one tidy sentence. We blame women because we cannot control male violence. It's a compelling claim. It has drama. It has emotional voltage. It has intoxicating clarity of a villain, a victim, and a helpless crowd of watching the tragedy. But my job today is not to comfort you. My job is to interrogate the narrative, peel back the psychology, and ask, does this theory illuminate reality or simplify it into ideology? Let's begin. Part 1, the part where she gets right, because denial is the enemy of reason. Victim blaming does exist. We have documented cases, data, court transcripts, and cultural examples where women who report violence are asked questions that should have dissolved in the acid bath of modern civilization. What were you wearing? Why didn't you scream? Why did you date him? Why were you out there that late? These questions don't come from malice. They come from fear. Humans like predictability. Humans like predictability, and they like a predictable universe. If a woman was harmed, we want to believe it must have been caused by a controllable variable, clothing, alcohol, judgment, because the alternative is too disturbing. Violence can strike anyone. Just that psychological bias, just world fallacy, has been studied for decades. It's not gendered, it's not ideological, it is simply a human defense mechanism wearing a trench coat. So far, so solid. Part 2, where the theory begins to fray. Now, Dr. Taylor's argument then takes a heroic leap from documented bias to global uniformity. All cultures, she says, all societies, all contexts. We hate victims. We resent them. We blame them everywhere. You can hear the seduction of the universal, one sweeping diagnosis for a complex, diverse human world. It's rhetorically powerful and empirically brittle. There are cultures where victim blaming is rife. There are cultures where it is declining. There are legal systems that protect women aggressively. There are systems that fail them. There are generations at war with each other on this issue. To claim global uniformity is to claim the world's gone through a keyhole. It feels true because it sounds tragic, but tragedy should not be confused with data. Now, there's the problem of turning men into a single mythological creature. The next step in this argument is where nuance is quietly smothered with a pillow. Male violence. It's treated as a single unified force, as though half the human species operates like a hive mind with a slightly manufactured malfunction. But violence is not a mammoth. Even perpetrators are not monolith. Most men are not violent. Most men condone violence. Most men are not sitting around screaming about how to oppress women on a Saturday and pick up groceries on a Sunday. If you find yourself categorizing millions of individuals into one symbolic villain, you're not doing sociology, you're doing mythology. Compelling mythology, yes, but mythology nonetheless. The missing half of the data set. There is an inconvenient truth that feminist theories often dodge like a draft in a cold house. Women can be perpetrators. Men can be victims. False allegations exist. Now, note the precision. I'm not saying false allegations are the norm. I'm not saying they negate real victim blaming. I'm saying a complete theory must hold the entire data set, not the flattering half. If we are discussing systemic violence and we conveniently delete the cases that contradict our ideological architecture, then we are not analyzing society. We are curating it. It's sociology by Instagram filter. The pessimism problem. Dr. Taylor suggests, as if announcing a cosmic decree, that perpetrator programs fail globally, that male violence cannot be controlled, and that society has essentially given up. This is less of an argument and more of a worldview wearing academic clothing. Programs don't fail globally, some fail. Some succeed. Some show partial gains. Some need better funding. Declaring universal futility is not analysis. It is existential theatre. The real issue behind the victim blaming debate. Now let's get to the cut to the bone on this, shall we? Victim blaming exists, but so does the fear of false allegations. And so does societal variation. And so does human cognitive bias. And so does male victimhood. And so does female perpetration. Any theory that explains the whole planet using one variable, and that variable being misogyny, or male violence, or victim resentment, or patriarchy, is not doing justice to the complexity of the human behavior. We need theories elastic enough to hold competing truths without tearing. And those truths include: some women are disbelieved unfairly. Some men are accused unfairly. Some systems protect victims. Some systems fail them. Not all men are violent. Not all women are truthful. Bias exists. Violence exists. Humans cling to the illusions of control. Reality is not ideological. Reality is inconvenient. A better way forward. If we want genuine progress, we need to abandon totalizing narratives and adopt something less glamorous but more honest. Focus on evidence, not ideology. Address individual behavior, not group identify. Improve justice processes for all victims, irrespective of gender. Reduce false allegations and victim blaming simultaneously. Stop framing half the population as predators and the other half as perpetrator victims. Society will not improve through blame. It improves through clarity. And clarity requires courage. The courage to hold two uncomfortable truths at once. Women who report violence face genuine barriers, belief, and bias. Men are not a unified oppressor class responsible for all violence. A theory that cannot tolerate both truths is not a theory. It is a sermon. So to conclude all of this, if you're replacing a myth with reality, if we want to dismantle violence, you don't need global accusations. We need global precision. We need detail. Not all men are dangerous, but some people commit violence and they must be held accountable. Not all women are disbelieved, but some victims face injustice and the system must be improved. Not we cannot control male violence, but we can change behavior through law, culture, education, and accountability. When we exaggerate the world, we stop being able to change it. A narrative that turns half the species into the universal antagonist will never produce solutions, only theatre. And theatre doesn't save lives. Precision does.